Alright, what's going on, guys? So today we have pretty much the biggest information dump for Cold War Zombies we have ever had. So much insider information came out over the past couple of days, and this gives us a really good insight into what Treyarch is going to be doing with Cold War Zombies. Now, with Firebase C coming just around the corner, it's literally coming out tomorrow night at the time of me recording this video, so we're going to be talking about maybe a little bit of Firebase C, but most generally, beyond that, some new maps to expect, because we have quite a lot of intel on the DLC season ahead. We're going to be discussing brand new maps, new game modes, and basically the general direction of where Treyarch plans to take Cold War Zombies for the rest of the year and maybe even beyond. So when I tell you there's a lot to take apart and unpack in this video, you better be prepared. Strap yourselves in for this one, guys, because it's going to be a pretty wild ride. If any of this interests you, or if you enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. I would love to get a general gauge of how you guys are feeling about zombies, so if you're excited for any of this, then make sure to give the video a thumbs up. Subscribe if you are brand new to the channel, and join the 10% of absolutely elite gamers. We are now on the road to 500,000 subscribers. I also do want to make a disclaimer that some of this info is absolutely subject to change, and depending on how they change the development of Cold War, maybe some of these things may be different when they actually come out. As some of you may remember, a few months ago, we were discussing the details of Firebase C before that had come out, and pretty much all the stuff that we had discussed, for the most part, ended up being pretty true, so you can take that for how you will. Now, with the next maps ahead of us, we have some more info that actually came out on Twitter a few days ago, and it's discussing the future DLC maps. We don't know if it's going to be exactly DLC 2 or what seasons are correlated to what maps, as that is completely subject to change, but one of the maps that we have to talk about will be the Zombies map set in East Berlin, and I made a video just barely brushing over this, but we haven't gone into any detail, but luckily we have some of those that came out on Twitter. Evidently, this map is supposedly called Mar der Toten and is set in East Berlin during the 80s. Now, what's really interesting is we have already seen this map, and you may not have even realized it. A lot of you will remember in the D Machine intro cutscene, we have Samantha walking over to the telephone booth to talk to Weaver, but as she's walking there, or exactly the location she's in, is literally where this time period is set in the exact location where the Zombies map takes place. So we have already seen this with our own eyes. Of course, it's not actual gameplay, but this is the setting we're going to be in. And that's not exactly a secret. There's literally in-game intel that suggests where this map is going to take place in East Berlin, but I think what's also interesting is the information we have suggests that Kino der Toten, or at least elements of it and parts of that map, and also Verrückt will be integrated into this map. And I do think that is a possibility, but as far as Kino goes, I actually don't believe that to be the case. And that also does not mean that they don't have something planned for maybe implementing Kino somehow in Cold War, but this is the popular theory, and it does make sense, although I don't believe that to be the case right now, that Kino is going to be part of this map. Verrückt, potentially, but I'm also unsure about that at this time. Apparently, this map has a very cool, dark, and grounded atmosphere, very realistic kind of zombies, very, similar to its roots where it started, a little bit farther away from the fantasy stuff that previous zombie games have explored, like BO4 and even BO3 to some matter, but whether this map contains elements of Kino der Toten or Verrückt or not doesn't really matter to me. I won't be pressed either way, but I just am really excited at the prospect of this map's particular atmosphere and the way that it might play out. For a minute, I thought this map could have served as a precursor to D Machine, as that's literally the opening to Cold War Zombies, but it looks like we're going to be going to Firebase C and then back to East Berlin, unless there's like a twist in the story that suggests that this map takes place before D Machine. I don't know if that's going to happen, but I thought it was possible. We'll have to wait and see. While there is no exact timeline on when this East Berlin map is going to come out, it is very possible this will be the next newest Zombies experience after Firebase C, because obviously we're going to be chewing on that map for at least a little while, and then whenever they decide to drop a new map, it looks like their schedule is changing around a little bit, so we could potentially be seeing this map sooner than expected, or maybe a little bit later than expected with some other things in between while we're waiting. Who really knows? Either way, this map does sound incredibly exciting to me. Now, let's talk about the map after that, which I guess we'll call DLC 3. So this third map is evidently called Spookstalli and is set in a glacier on the base of a huge snowy mountain. The map goes all the way from the Russian facility at the top of the mountain to the frozen caverns that run inside it. It's full of weird ruins and ancient artifacts, completely vertical map, and the gimmick is set around portals that connect different caverns and tunnels, where the player would leap from the top and then land into a portal and come out of the other side in a completely different part of the map. Apparently, this map is still in incredibly early development, so a lot of this could change. I just want to make that very, very clear. Now, as far as the map layout goes, vertical maps are rather hit and miss, I think, for zombies, so there is a possibility it could not work out too well, or it's a possibility it could be great. But as far as the setting and the atmosphere is concerned, I'm personally really intrigued at the idea of having the Russian facility basically over top and then leading into the, mysterious icy caverns below. It's sort of like an Origin situation where you have like the bleak battlefields of World War I, and then under it you have the crazy place, which is an entirely mystical form. Just having the contrast between those very different styles in one map is always what makes a map feel good to me, and is certainly why Origins is very memorable. I'm hoping this map goes for a pretty similar tone to that. And I guess a map you could really compare it to right now is the Frozen Dawn from World War II. As far as its setting and atmosphere is concerned, this is probably the closest comparison to draw. And you may not have loved the gameplay of World War II because, believe me, I really didn't either like it all that much, but the setting and the atmosphere of this, I actually thought was one of the best zombies had ever seen. There were very distinct areas of the map that were all very clear and concise and had their own personality and flair, and so I'm hoping they're able to at least bring that sort of stylistic choice into this map. If not for the vertical gameplay that may or may not flow well in the game, this will at least be a nice added benefit. And I would say the timeline in which to expect this map is not very soon at all. Like, this is going to be probably pretty far down the road, at least the next couple of months, so we'll have to wait and see where that goes. According to the information we were given, it still sounds like this map is being fundamentally concepted and nothing is really completely set or 100% guaranteed. But it sounds interesting enough to me, and I would love to know what you guys think of the prospect of this map as well. So apparently we are going to be getting at least 6 zombies maps this entire season, if not more, and I'll talk about that in the future. The next one I want to discuss is very, very heavy speculation, so keep that in mind. There are locations on some of the screens in the Firebase Z trailer that suggest where new zombie outbreaks are taking place, and one of the more interesting locations is a spot we can see in California. And if your mind is going exactly where mine is right now, you may be thinking that this is going to be a new Alcatraz map. It's obviously way too ambiguous to tell where that exact location is on the map, but if it's anywhere near San Francisco, then it's likely pointing towards somewhere around Alcatraz. Of course, the last time we saw this map was in Blood of the Dead on BO4, and this received very mixed reviews just because of how Black Ops 4's fundamental gameplay was, but everybody seems to pretty much like at least the setting and the location of this, as Mob of the Dead absolutely defined the zombie atmosphere. I'm not going to come out here and tell you this is suggesting a Mob of the Dead or even a Blood of the Dead remake for Cold War, but it does look like to some degree there's going to be another zombie outbreak in or around Alcatraz, and a lot of people are thinking this could be Onslaught, but as this was like literally featured in a trailer for a main map, it doesn't really seem like that's the case. Oddly enough, there's also a map of New York inside of Firebase Z, but it doesn't appear that this is an epicenter of any outbreaks, so I'm not sure what they're suggesting with this New York location, whether this is going to be important to the storyline somehow, or whether this is a potential location for a new map. There's a lot that's going on, and there's like too many locations for everything to be a map, so potentially we're seeing a merger, or like some of these may be main maps while some of them are Onslaught, and then potentially some of these locations are saved for after Cold War season and future zombie support. That's an entirely separate discussion I'm going to make a video about pretty soon, about what zombies plans are after Cold War's life cycle is over. But as far as what we have coming down the road right now, is what we have to chew on for the next couple of months and to really think about, and there's obviously going to be some surprises in between what we already know is coming and what we have currently, but we also have a new mode called Outbreak, apparently. Now, this has been known about for quite a long time, but I didn't make a video or talk about it all because I didn't know if it was still being added in the game or not, but there was data miners before Cold War came out that essentially pulled something that was akin to Warzone zombies, and we had no idea what that meant. We thought it was the Warzone integration where they had the Haunting of Verdansk and it had some zombie elements in that, but it looks like this is an entirely separate project where it's basically going to be the concept of fire team in multiplayer, but with zombies instead. So you just imagine a big map in the Ural Mountains where you go and complete objectives, whatever that might mean. Again, the details on this are super vague and we know virtually nothing about this game mode, but I will say it's probably going to be a lot more substantial than anything like Jingle Hell's brought or even Cranked, as relatively good as they are. I don't play them every day, but they're okay. Apparently, this Outbreak mode actually has a lot to offer and is going to be quite different to anything we've ever played before. I don't believe this is going to intrude on any of the main maps, so they're not going to make that integrated into something like D Machine or Firebase C. It appears right now it's going to be its own standalone thing, where with its own standalone map where you can play and do these objectives, maybe with an even bigger team. Who knows? This may be capped at 4 players, but if the map is as big as it is in multiplayer and there's that much to do, potentially this could support a lot more people at one time. As far as I'm aware, this mode is coming relatively soon. There's no exact date on this right now, but certainly within the next few months, this will probably be coming around for Cold War Zombies. From what it sounds like, because of the overwhelmingly positive response from the community to Cold War Zombies this year, Activision has done a little bit of rescheduling and reorganizing in how they're going to release content, so I'm not sure exactly what to make of that. And another feature that we have talked about before was the expanded upgrade system. I probably think that the reason this isn't in the game yet, they are reworking it or repolishing it to some degree to be compatible for the rest of their game. Obviously, if they're going to be releasing new perks and potentially even like new specialists or weapons, whatever it is, then it's going to have to be reorganized in a way that fits for the rest of the year. So if they're restructuring the way that Cold War Zombies is going to be releasing content, then this is likely swept up in that category. And finally, this is something I'm not going to go into too deep in this video, as I'm going to save this for an entirely separate discussion, but there is talks in the future right now in very early development, apparently, of porting a Zombies Chronicles or a Zombies Chronicles 2 over to Cold War. It's way too early to say what that would entail, whether it's just the standard Chronicles that BO3 had, maybe plus a little bit more, the Victus maps that were not remastered as well, or whether this is just simply 3 extra maps, that being the Victus implemented in Cold War. I feel like in large part that depends on the continued success of Cold War Zombies. If it continues in the positive direction that it is currently treading, then we are probably going to get more content from Treyarch and from Activision for this mode. At the same time, as a lot of the Zombies maps this year are free, then Activision is going to have to make money somehow in Zombies, and there's no microtransactions, there's no liquid divinium or anything that you can really buy in Zombies, so I would suspect if they're going to release a Chronicles 2 after the fact, or after Cold War's life cycle is come and gone, then that's probably going to be a paid pack, which I think is absolutely fair. Again, keep in mind what I just said is as speculative as speculation gets, but I can't help but think of where this game is going to go and all the possibilities that it could entail. But anyways, guys, that is pretty much it for the video. I just wanted to explain exactly what's been going on over the past couple days with Zombies news, and with Firebase C coming out literally tomorrow night, I will be covering everything you need to know in regards to that map. I will have an ultimate guide, I'm going to have a solo Easter egg guide, and anything you need to know to get your footing in that map. So make sure to stick around and subscribe if you are new to the channel, but drop a like on the video if you guys enjoyed, and make sure to go follow me on Twitch if you don't already. The link to that is in the description. That's where I will be live streaming the Firebase C Easter egg hunt. Hope to see you over there, and I will see you guys there for the hunt. Anyways, hope you all have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you guys in the next stream or the next video. Take it easy. I gotta go, and peace out.